Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our certified coaches panel, where we're going to be talking tonight about overcoming overwhelm. Have you ever felt overwhelmed in your life? You've got all these things that you need to do, and all these people are asking you to do this and to do that, and you've got kids pulling on your sleeve to come help them with their homework, and the husband's hungry that he wants to have dinner, or the wife can't understand why the trash isn't taken out, and you just feel like you can't do it all. Well, we're going to talk about being overwhelmed by things like that, as well as even maybe some deeper emotional things possibly tonight, and try to give you the secrets that we each use to help us overcome the overwhelm and move forward with our lives and the action steps that we need to take on a daily basis. And first tonight, we're going to hear from Miss Wendy Cardell, and she is going to tell us how she overcomes overwhelm. Wendy?
Thanks, Kevin. So for me, I don't know how a man's mind works, but I do know how a woman's mind works. And we have about 9 million tabs open at one time. And for me, I find that it really hits me about an hour after I get into bed. All of a sudden, I am awake and I'm thinking about things that honestly, if I thought about them during the day, it wouldn't be as big a deal. But when you're asleep and it's at night, everything seems bigger than it actually is. So one of the things that I have done is that I have started every Sunday to do what I call a brain dump. And I start writing down everything that is on my mind, whether it's associated with my business, our home life, things that have to be done, the taxes, the whatever it is. I get everything out of my brain. And then from there, I take a look at what I've written down and I decide what is really important that I have to do this week. And then I make sure that I schedule it. I also can decide what I can delete from that list because it's really not that important, even though it's taking up time and space in my brain. Then I also decide if there's anything that can be delegated. And so, whether that's to your kids or to your spouse or to somebody else. And so that just helps me get rid of that overwhelming feeling of I've got too much on the go and I don't have enough time to do it well or do it at all. So that's my little tip for getting over my overwhelm. And next, we're going to have Coach Amy Franks with her tidbit.
Totally helps to take myself off mute. Love that. So I have had a lot of overwhelm, especially over the last year. My mom had cancer. Last month on Monday, I got in a car accident. On Thursday, my husband lost his job. There's lots of things that have been going on lately. And I've really been leaning into the ULA accelerator of gratitude. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day stresses, especially when big things are happening, and really taking a second to stop, look at the beauty around us, find something to be grateful for. It really helps to calm down that cycle of overwhelm and realize that maybe it's not as bad as it seems, or even if it is that bad, it could always be worse. Other things could be going on. So I really have been leaning into a gratitude journal. Just every night, jot down a couple things to be grateful for. At first, it's just, you can't even think of anything because everything is so crazy. So you start with the little things, like I'm super grateful that my kid got up when I told her to, or I'm super grateful that my husband got the trash out, or all of those little things. And eventually it's going to become an attitude of gratitude. And you are able to see the good things even in really terrible situations. So lean into gratitude. A gratitude journal helps immensely when you're overwhelmed. And next we will have Coach Rob.
Thanks, Amy. I guess I was already unmuted. Yeah, gratitude is amazing. Thank you for that reminder. And, Wendy, that brain dump is such a great idea. And I heard about that. I've never done it, but I think this is the time that I have to take that to heart and actually try it out. Because I do, like you, I carry way too many things on in this brain. I can go to sleep because I'm usually exhausted, but then I wake up at night to go to the bathroom, and I get back to bed and thinking about all the other things I need to do, and sometimes don't go back to sleep. I guess maybe I feel like I could make Overwhelm my middle name, because I feel like that it's something I've done my whole life. And part of the thing with me is I'm an overthinker, and I feel like I have to accomplish everything like yesterday. Um, and then I'm upset at myself because I didn't. And last week was a very trying week for me. I had made the decision. My little one goal this year is to really help conquer my food addiction. And it's really not even about weight loss at this point. It's just really truly about healing that part of me that I've dealt with for over 40 years. Um, Definitely made a lot of steps. Not there yet. So I know one of the steps is helping to heal some stuff from my childhood, some childhood trauma that I had. And I made the decision that that's something I choose to do to help with my goal. Because I know that's when it started, was when all that crazy stuff was going on. And my mom passed away when I was 12. But opening that door and saying that and actually looking for therapists, all of a sudden I started getting like full body anxiety where my body was hurting. I was like shaking inside. Like just the thought of talking about some of the stuff like made me panic. Um, it also ended up bringing back a lot of memories, a lot of really bad memories. It also brought back some of the good things too. Um, when I was a kid, so it was a lot of both. And it kind of went into a little bit of a spiral. And what I realized was I had started listening to this book and stopped because I freaked out. So I'm like, just start listening to the book again. So I hit play, and the first thing the author says is, whatever you do, don't stop. Like within like seconds after I hit play. And then because I kind of let myself hang and didn't continue on. So doing that allowed me a couple of things. It allowed me to realize that it's going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And I don't have to have these big, lofty goals. And it really took a lot of pressure off. So I think my biggest takeaway for me is just doing something about it and taking action. Because often in overwhelm, there's so many things that I do nothing, and then which makes me more overwhelmed. It's just a very crazy, vicious cycle. So just do something, and that's what I did, and that really helped me feel a whole lot better. So I'll pass it on to Coach Colette.
All right. So I love going right in the middle of this awesome sandwich we've got going here because you guys all have so many great things. And the one thing I wrote down literally leads up. Each one of you gave me a little nugget that leads up to what I was going to talk about. So, super proud of you, Rob, for taking those steps because you know how I love action steps and everything. And um, I was definitely going to tie mine in with action steps because in February, the guys came out and talked to my third graders, and it was the best day. And my kids they're not gung ho about the action steps every single day, but they know the importance of it. And then when they do it, they see the results in it and they see what happens. And I'm happy to say that today was one of those days where we've got, Thursday and Friday left and our third quarter's over. And we finished up some testing and their reading goals that they've been working on all quarter long since January. I only have one out of my 24 that doesn't have it reached, and they still have till tomorrow to do it. And I highly credit that to doing not only the action steps, but chunking it into those little action steps and just teaching them that it doesn't have to be done yesterday. It doesn't have to be done in this last week when it's due, but doing just a little bit every single time. And then coming into what this group is, which is what I hope I am with my students, is just holding them accountable for it and being that person that's like, hey, did you do this? You had this yesterday. Are you going to do this? And just continuing to encourage and support them, because we can't do it alone. And it's not any fun if we do it all by ourselves. You need that encouragement. You need those groups like this one. We're all here to support you guys. And to do it together makes it so much better, and you get so much more success when you do it together, and you can celebrate each other and everything. So love Amy's with the gratitude. I need to get back into that for sure. And I would also just kind of throw in there, I'm sure one of you will talk about this as well, but movement. I think today was the first day I've gotten out and hiked the mountain. I used to do that all the time, and it's been a few weeks because we've been sick, or we've had this, that, and the other going on at school for a whole month. It's just been so busy. And just packing that bag this morning was like, oh, okay, I don't know. But once I got this on, I was like, yes, let's go do it. So I think just getting out there and moving is a big step in it too. So, all right, Coach Gina's next.
Thank you, Colette. All right, so overwhelm, what is it? So it's when we're overcome with an emotion of something that is too much to handle. It could be good or bad. So when you think of overwhelm, you're not going to ever hear anyone complain about being overwhelmed with all the good things, because it happens when we're overwhelmed with love and, people are surrounding you. We don't talk about that overwhelm, but we talk about the bad overwhelm. And so I think with overwhelm, it's going to come a lot with work, stress, our relationships, our health. This is where we're going to see, and it seems like it all comes at once. And that's why we feel so smothered by overwhelm and we can't move. Two types of overwhelm, I would say, is when there's too much to do and our plate feels so full and we don't know how we're going to get it all done. The second time of overwhelm is too much information, especially in this day and age. So much information with internet and all the different social platforms and all the different news stations. We are being bombarded with information and we are being overwhelmed with it, and we don't know what to do with it. And we're kind of freaking out a little bit. So a couple ways first off, a couple reasons that overwhelm sets in is we have unrealistic expectations with ourselves. We're putting too much pressure on ourselves. We're perfectionists and we want to do everything the right way. We want to have control of the situation, and letting the control go is really hard for us. And then we're overachievers. We want to get it all done and we want to get it done right. And so what does it that do is it just makes us stop dead in our tracks and we just feel overwhelmed and we quit. So a couple of ways, Wendy hit a couple of them really good. You really need to prioritize your day. You need to look at what you have to do, and you need to figure out which is the most important and which needs to get done first. You need to plan your day. Certain times, certain things need to be done. You need to take a break. If you try to do it all at once, you're going to quit because it's just not doable. You need to change your self-talk. Stop saying stuff like, I'll never get this done. I don't know what to do first. And you need to move and say, this is what I'm going to do first, or I'm going to get this done. Be conscious of your time. Don't waste your time by getting distracted, picking up your phone, going on social media. All that's going to do is cause more overwhelm. Ask for help. There's always someone that can help you. Like Wendy said, pass things off, delegate tasks to other people, and set boundaries. And I like the set boundaries one because going back to the two types of overwhelm, with the too much information, we learn from the ULA guys: unblock, unfollow, unfriend, delete, get it out of there. If it's something that is overwhelming you, you have to get rid of it. One thing that I did, TikTok was overwhelming me, and it was like political stuff and COVID stuff, and it was scaring me. So I deleted TikTok off my phone because I'm like, I sit there and then I get in this thing of swiping. And I'm like, I can't. So I had to delete that off my phone. And another thing is when there's too much on your plate, you need to set boundaries with that. Some of us have a plate that's this big, and some of us have a plate that's this big, but everybody's plate always is going to feel full, no matter how big your plate is. I heard somebody say once, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. So if someone asked you to do something, our old people pleasing ways, we would always say, oh, yes, I'll do that for you. Oh, yes, I'll do that for you. And then you think about it and you're like, oh, why did I say that? That causes more overwhelm. So if it's not a hell yes, I want to do that for you, it's a, you know what? I'm not going to be able to help you with that this time. Maybe next time, but this time I'm not going to be able to help you with that. And that's going to be really big from people that constantly come at you and want you to do things. If you are a people pleaser, I am a former people pleaser. But it's good because they're going to start understanding like, okay, I don't need to ask her all the time for these things. And their expectations of you will start to change as well. So that's going to help with your overwhelm. So that's what I got for you. Next is Darla. What you got, Darla?
I love you, Arizona coaches. Look how amazing you are. Like, yes, 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 and yes. All of the things. So, Kevin is really good about a brain dump every Sunday, looking about what his week is going to look at. We're all in this group so thankful for things in our lives. Yes, we have to chunk it out and do steps, and it's easy to get in that freeze mode because it's like there's too much and just walk away. Totally get it. But when you see that you can take a step every day, that's when you can see that you've come a little ways, and you come a little ways, and you come a little ways. And yes, Gina, I have a platter. But I'm actually, I don't know, you could ask my husband, but I don't know that I get overwhelmed very often. But he does ask me, did you get your stuff done today, honey? And I'm just like, no, I never get my stuff done. So I have just decided that it's okay. And he tells me, look at all the things you did do. And I'm like, yeah, look at all that. Because you guys, I could have 5 assistants and I could keep them busy because I have a lot going on in here. But I don't know that I'm overwhelmed. And one thing that I will offer is that I learned aroma freedom. And aroma freedom has different techniques for different reasons. But aroma freedom has a boost technique. And if you know this boost technique, you get this overwhelm in your head at first thing in the morning or at night when you're trying to go to bed. And you do this process with the oil, with breathing essential oils. And it takes just a couple of minutes, and all of a sudden your mind will just start changing, and it will be like, oh, well, you could get this done here, and then you could do this, and then this amazing positive plan just happens, and then it's calm again. And it's like fascinating. I know the science behind it and how it works, but every time I see it work, it just gives me the chills. So if you're really stricken by overwhelm and you're not sleeping or really having a difficult season with that, then get a hold of Anna West because we can all help you with aroma freedom. So that's my extra tip of the day besides all these amazing tips. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Darla, and thank you to all of the Arizona coaches, Wendy and Amy and Rob and Colette and Gina, and especially Darla. I have to say especially Darla because I live with her and she lets me live here. So what I have for you tonight is all of those things. I'm so glad that they already shared those, but I'll leave you with this one question. The next time you feel overwhelmed and you don't know how to overcome it, ask yourself this question. What is the priority of this moment? This moment that I'm living in right now, what is the first thing that I need to do? You may not realize it, but it's only been 100 or 200 years that the word priority was given a plural meaning. Have you ever thought about that? What are your priorities for today? Now, wait a minute. If the word priority is all about the most important thing, how can there be multiple, right? So ask yourself, the original intent of the word priority was just one thing. What is the one thing that you need to do and take care of right now? Who is the one person that you can care for and help in this moment? And whoever or whatever that priority is, take action on that and then move on to the next one. And with that, we will leave you with what we usually leave you with. We want all of you to have faith, and be grateful,
Be
Be
grateful.
grateful.
And
and
go
go
get
get
your
your
True
life.
even if it's out of order.
And get a puppy because puppies are good. She's not
Everybody, take
overwhelmed ever.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.